The U.S. economy is about to punch a lot of people in the mouth. It's Tuesday, September 15th, 2020. I hope that didn't trigger anybody, but I've noticed that when you speak about reality, when you speak about the truth, when you use facts and figures, people get very triggered. It seems that people do not want to hear the truth. They fear the truth. Many people would rather just be blind to the truth, ignore the truth. Most of you watching know the truth. Most of you watching are preparing because of truth, because of reality. You know it's coming. You know it's already begun. There's people out there that will accuse me of repeating the same thing, repeating the same message. Look, this may be an old message to you, but this old message may be a new message to someone new listening. It may be a new message to somebody on the fence. You know, there's people out there that seem to have all the answers, and I don't know why those people continue to watch this show. If you have all the answers, you have it all figured out, and you think that this is repetition, why are you listening? But you know, when I go to the gym, repetition's a good thing because it builds muscle. And when you use repetition for your brain, repetition for your body, you're going to build muscle. And I believe in reinforcing a message. I believe in repetition, but I also believe in bringing you the newest and latest news about what's happening right here in America, especially financially. And here's something right here today that just came out in CNBC this morning. As lawmakers point fingers over stimulus stalemate, experts say Americans need more aid right now. And this should concern every one of us. Things are much worse than they're telling us. This economy is dying without stimulus. The average household in America is in big trouble without stimulus, without aid from the government. White House senior advisor Jared Kushner said another stimulus bill may have to wait until after the election. So people who are falling behind on their auto payments, their credit card payments, their rent, they may have to wait till after the election. They may have to wait till 2021. They may have to wait forever because there is no guarantee that any help is going to arrive. With the current condition of this economy, Americans need assistance more than ever. And when you look at the debt and the deficits, where is all this money going to come from? How is this ever going to be paid back? This is the worst possible time for people to be in trouble. It's the worst possible time for this depression to hit because the debt has never been higher. The deficits have never been higher. Huge liabilities in municipalities, cities, the government, and the nation. It's never been this bad, and we are witnessing an economic atomic bomb going off, and we're going to have to create so much debt. It's going to do more damage than an atomic bomb. But you know, that's okay because all of your Wall Street executives, they've gotten record bonuses this year. So while we're seeing the middle class decimated, we're seeing the poor vaporized. The Wall Street execs are getting record bonuses in the worst economy since the Great Depression, and I would argue that this is even worse than the Great Depression, and it's just begun. Think about what's going to happen this Christmas. What's going to happen to retail if people do not have money to go out and spend and shop? People have tapped into the retirement savings. They've tapped into their cash reserves. They've tapped out their credit cards. What are people going to do for Christmas? What is this economy going to look like in December if the government cannot inject more debt into this economy and give people money to go out and spend? The government now is responsible to keeping this economy chugging along because we're not making anything here. People are tapped out. People are dependent now on stimulus. The government now is supporting everything. This is where we're at. It is a critical time in U.S. history, and the fallout here is going to be devastating. Holiday spending will hinge on how much the rich splurge and the poor cut back. This is on CNBC today, okay? Today. So I'm not repeating anything to you. We're talking about this today. This is very, very scary. So they're basically telling you we have two classes now, the rich and the peasants. And hopefully the rich who have trillions of dollars are going to go out and buy yachts and hypercars, more real estate. Hopefully they're going to go out and spend lots and lots of money because the average American may not be able to. So everything is dependent now on how much the rich spend. Here's another one on CNBC. Americans are rating retirement savings during the crisis. 3 in 10 Americans have decreased or stopped their retirement savings. This hits people who have lost their jobs, who have had wage cuts, who have been laid off, who are on unemployment. 30% of retirement savings have been tapped. And when you look at the average amount that these people are tapping into the retirement accounts, the average is $6,757. That's what the average person who's tapping into the retirement account, that's what they're tapping into. And think about, half this country barely even has any retirement to even begin with. Many people have zero. So people who do, 30% of the people that do are tapping into it to the number of almost $7,000. Bloomberg yesterday, eviction filings by big landlords surge after president issued ban. This is also very concerning. Now there is a eviction moratorium taking place right now. Now, if you are renting a property and you haven't filed out the proper paperwork and given it to your landlord, you are susceptible to being evicted. And many people didn't file that paperwork, didn't know about that paperwork, didn't turn it over to their landlord. They're being evicted right now. The landlords are more savvy to the laws. The landlords, especially the big ones, have attorneys, and they're going to do whatever they can to evict people who have not paid. So we're looking at a possible 40 million people being evicted by the end of this year. That number probably isn't going to happen, but what if 10% of that number does? That's 4 million people. What if 20% of that number does? That's 8 million people. What about 30%, 40%, 50%? Those numbers are gigantic. And there is no doubt it is inevitable when these moratoriums run out, many people are going to find their lives shattered. Many will be homeless. We're seeing so many people moving back home with their parents, with relatives, with friends. And look, this is no time to have too much pride. You've got to get pride out of the way. If you need to downsize and move in with a friend, or you got to move back with your parents or family members, eat your pride. Right now, I think it is all about survival. Pride doesn't matter right now. Survival does. If you can move back home and save money, I believe that's the smart thing to do right now. But many people will have too much pride, and they're going to try to weather the storm, and they're going to get annihilated in doing so. Be smart. Eat your pride. Swallow your pride. Move back in with your parents, with a friend, with a roommate, with relatives, whatever you have to do. I think right now the biggest thing you can do is get a cash reserve, save up some money. If you move back in and you can save money, you can pay down the debt, pay off your bills, and get some cash reserves going. That's going to be very important for what we're going into. You know, I was looking at some of the jobs that are out there. And here's an article that came out yesterday. Amazon workforce to hit 1 million hiring spree. And we look at where most of these jobs are being created today: leisure, hospitality, medical assistance, medical health care, jobs like that, lower paying type jobs. Amazon is hiring another 100,000 permanent workers in the US and Canada. And that sounds like great news. And, you know, we hear that the economy is bouncing back, that jobs are coming back. And, you know, this is great news. 100,000 jobs, right? It's $15 an hour, and you get health and dental insurance. That sounds wonderful. They had 876,000 workers at the end of June. Again, hiring another 100,000. But when you break down $15 an hour, that's $120 a day. That's $600 a week. That's $28,000 a year. I can tell you right now, in the area where I live, that's poverty. That is poverty right there. And when you take out taxes out of $28,000, that leaves you with about $20,000. You would barely. I don't even think you would be able to pay a year's rent with that right here in Southern California. You couldn't do it in Orange County, San Diego, LA. You couldn't do it in San Francisco. You could do it out here, maybe on the Riverside area, but you would be living in about a 50, 60-year-old apartment in a very, very bad neighborhood. So it's great news that we're seeing some of this hiring, but look at the income. How are people going to survive on $28,000 a year? We look at McDonald's. They employ 1.9 million employees. Walmart's employing 2.1 million employees. And most of those are all making under $15 an hour. So the jobs, we may be seeing some job creation, but take a look at where those jobs are. Take a look at what they're really paying. I don't understand how people are making it $28,000 a year, and they act like $15 an hour is great. You just are not going to survive on that. The Hedge, Wisconsin Food Bank warns we're not going back to normal anytime soon. This is an epidemic that we're seeing all over the country, not just Wisconsin. I'm seeing it right out here in my county of Riverside. We're seeing it all over the country. We're seeing food banks saying the same thing, that they've never seen anything like it. You know, lines of cars, miles long, thousands of people. The amount of food that they're handing out is just unlike anything they've seen. They're seeing massive desperation. And this is a bellwether. This is an indicator of what's really happening to the economy. $15 an hour, $600 a week. With the inflation that we're seeing today, the cost of living, the prices at the grocery store, you cut your leg and you need to go to the urgent care. It's going to cost you $1,000. If you're making $15 an hour, you're going to need to work 2 weeks just to pay for those 20 stitches. And, this really worries me. It concerns me seeing how susceptible the average American is now to losing everything, to being homeless, to being bankrupt, to being evicted. There's just so many variables right now taking place. Our beautiful Governor Newsom, said over the weekend, California is America. He said that, what's happening here is going to happen throughout America. And I think that he's very, very right. California is the 5th largest economy in the world. We've got Silicon Valley, we've got Hollywood, we've got Disneyland. This is where people come to make their dreams. We've got the beaches, we've got the weather. It's the 5th biggest economy in the world. And what I've noticed is multiple power outages. I've had my power cut for 4 or 5 hours at a time. Areas all throughout California have had power cut. California is either very unprepared or they are relying completely on solar and windmills. And let me tell you, solar and windmills are not going to support the energy needed here in California, nor is it going to support the energy that America needs. So what they're doing is they're just cutting power off at the worst possible time, while we have fires, while we have 120-degree weather, 108 degrees today, and we have power outages all over California, the 5th biggest economy in the world, and we need to cut our power. This is where our grid is, that we can't even support, while office buildings by the thousands are closed, restaurants are closed, yet there's not enough power for people sitting at home to run their air conditioning. We've got power outages all throughout the state. So it just blows my mind when we have the most expensive power. Like, we pay more than anybody in the entire country, yet we don't have access to our own power. It's being shut down. All these businesses are closed, schools closed, malls closed, yet we don't have power. It just blows my mind. But here's what we have in California, and this is what's coming to America. Governor Newsom is completely right. This is coming to America, and you've probably already seen it in areas that you live. The school system here has failed. Many school systems across America are failing or are going to fail. Business regulations out of control here in California. That's coming to you. Workman's comp has devastated business here, and it's going to devastate business where you're at. business right here in California pays the highest tax in the country. Expect your business taxes to go up. We have the worst lockdown in America right here. And you could see a second wave coming, and you may see a bigger lockdown in your area. This is going to be the rest of America. This is where it's all heading, ladies and gentlemen. And unfortunately, I hate to bring you the bad news, but what's happening here in California with many of our laws is going to happen where you live also, unless it is stopped. And it's really, really sad to see. It is so sad to see such a state like California, once the greatest state in America, the most beautiful state, the state where there was more opportunity here than anywhere, more freedom than anywhere. It's done a complete 180, and it is running people out of here. But what is happening here is beginning to happen all over the country, and it's going to continue to happen. And I pray that the American people put an end to it and stop it before it is too late. I'm going to leave it there today. So much happening, lots of smoke in the air. It's another hot day, fires everywhere. This evening, I cannot even see the San Jacinto Mountains. They're completely covered in smoke. Just unbelievable. Is this a warning? Is God trying to tell us something? Is he waking us up? Quite possibly, yes. But the fires are heading to you also. Fires from California are coming all over America. No doubt about it. We're seeing that. These fires are erupting everywhere. And they're not going to just be physical fires. They're going to be fires spiritually, fires socially, fires politically, fires financially. They are going to try and burn America down every which way they can. I'm going to leave you with this. Walk close to God. Be preparing the best that you can. Make sure you have food, water, security. Make sure you have gold and silver. Make sure you have cash reserves. Make sure you're paying your debts down. And again, you may have to swallow your pride. If that means moving back home with your parents, moving back in with a roommate or friends or family members, that may be the smartest thing you can do, because right now things are going to get absolutely out of control. And if you have debt right now, it is going to bury you. So if moving home allows you to pay down that debt and save some money, that's what you need to do. You must be thinking very smart now. You must be thinking about surviving the worst economic collapse America has ever seen. And look, there's going to be opportunity during this collapse. Mark my words, there's going to be incredible opportunity while this collapse is happening. After this collapse, put yourself in a position to win. But if you're paying $1,500, $2,000, $3,000 a month for an apartment, and you have the opportunity to move back home and save some money, maybe that's what you need to do. So think about being smart right now. Think about being agile during this collapse, being versatile, being small, not having massive debt, massive overhead. This is the time to hunker down, be small, and be able to move very, very quickly, because this economy is going to be doing a lot of crazy things. And if you have too much debt, if you have a lot of bills, if you got massive overhead, it's going to crush you. So think smart, be walking close to God. God bless every one of you. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you're already subscribed, make sure you hit the bell notification button so that you get the newest video. If you're not subscribed, subscribe now. God bless you.